Okay, let's go.
What's up, everybody? This is Ryan. Welcome back to the End Zone. Me and the guys are going to ask a few questions, get this conversation rolling. Let us know what you think once we get wrapped up. And remember to hit that like button and subscribe and keep it going with us as this season rolls along. All right, starting off, I'll kick it off. Good to see y'all. I was out last week, so glad to be back. Good to see all your beautiful faces back today. First question. What coach, after 4 weeks, is really in the hot seat right now? And open it up to y'all.
I mean, dude, you got to start off with Brandon Staley. I think that the Chargers, even though they're 2-2, their defense is like putrid, and they've drafted a lot of talent around it. Luckily, they have Justin Herbert, who's a god, and I think if Kellen Moore were to take this team over, they'd be potentially 3-1 or 4-0. But right now, man, Brandon Staley, he's got to be out there. And another guy I'd have to throw out there, Josh McDaniels. I mean, he's not it. The Raiders have been terrible the past 2 years. And this year it's just not looking great so far. So unless he's able to turn things around, I think he's going to be on the chopping block.
Yeah, I'm going to side with Tim on the Brandon Staley take. There's no reason the Titans should have hung anywhere close to this team. What was it, 2 weeks ago, and gone to OT? They should not have been able to keep up. They don't have the receiving weapons. Ryan Tannehill is not Justin Herbert at all. They do have Derrick Henry, but still their passing attack should have outpaced Derrick Henry.
Josh McDaniels, sorry. He has just mismanaged the game. I mean, going for a field goal when they're down 8 points, like, what are you even trying to do? And the offense the team in general is just terrible. They have decent weapons. They're 1-4 right now, and their only win was they lost to the their only win was over the Broncos, and it was like a 1 point game. Overall, they're just very underwhelming, and even with the talent that they have, and Jimmy Garoppolo he's a game manager, but I mean, he's got Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs hasn't really done much until last week. They have a pretty good pass rush. Defense still needs a lot of work, but they're going to be in another top 10 pick, and then probably going to be moving on from their coach after the season. That.
Yeah, I really want to touch base really fast on it too, dude. That whole situation with Chandler Jones is kind of weird too with it. I don't understand how, McDaniels was like not allowing him into the facility, and all of a sudden this guy's now getting arrested. Like, it's, I don't know, weird situations playing out. So all around, I agree. I think, McDaniels, I think, is definitely on the hot seat. 2 quick names I want to throw out though, real quick. Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings. I'm not sure if he's going to be necessarily out, but if they don't turn the ship around here pretty soon and start winning some games, I could see him definitely being on the chopping block. And one more name, this is going to be a spicy take, but Bill Belichick. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that he's going to get fired after this season, but I don't think if he's not able to turn things around in the next year or two, I think he's going to be a surprising name that's going to retire out of nowhere and join the booth or something.
Yeah, those are 2 names that I kind of wanted to touch on. O'Connell, I mean, like, he seems like a cool dude or whatever, but like, you have too much talent. I think you're wasting, kind of the rest of Kirk's career right now. I think as a Cowboys fan, I think Kirk would do well on the Cowboys. I think there's a lot of teams right now that would love to have Kirk Cousins be their quarterback. It's not a question of the talent on the team. I just think O'Connell doesn't really make a lot of good decisions. And then you have Belichick. He won't get fired. You can't fire that. It'd be like Alabama firing Saban. But definitely think that, depending on how the rest of this year goes and everything, he could be asked to leave, off the record, and he decides and says he wants to retire. And then not a head coach, but Canada for the Steelers. Come on, man. You got to get your shit together. I don't know how he has a job. I can't. Oh, God, it's tough to watch. And I mean, I hate the Steelers as a Cowboys fan, but come on. There's talent there. It's not. And I feel like he's, tarnishing Mike Tomlin's legacy, one of the most underrated coaches of all time. So get your shit together, Canada. Come on. All right. That wraps up first question. Paul, your turn. What you got for us?
All right, so I got a trio here. We're going to start off with a little couple fantasy questions regarding the quarterbacks in the league. First one up here, we got, what would you rather have as your quarterback, starting quarterback going for the rest of the season? either Trevor Lawrence or Geno Smith. Even after the injury, both are kind of questionable. They're both fringe top 20 quarterbacks at the moment, even with their weaponry. Who would y'all take?
Personally, I'm going to take T-Law. Just looking at the divisions, NFC West is a little bit harder than the Jags division. For the life of me, I cannot remember the name of it right now. But nonetheless, Texans, Colts, and Titans is a whole lot easier than a hot Cardinals team right now. Sorry, not to fanboy a little bit on it. Not that hot, though. I mean, still lost to the 49ers, but the 49ers are the maybe best team in the NFL right now, especially on both sides of the ball. And the Rams have been playing somewhat good ball as well. So I'm going to take the Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Brandon. I think Trevor Lawrence has way more explosive weapons on his team than Geno does in Seattle. I like what Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, and Evan Ingram all bring to the table. And Travis Etienne out of the backfield too. I mean, there's the pedigree. I feel like, you can't really count them out. They can be explosive. We've seen it before. We saw it last year. We've seen it some this year. Like, it's definitely doable. So I think just looking at upside based off of the roster, I got to go with T-Law too. I think there's more that he can put out than Geno.
Yeah, I'm going to have to piggyback with y'all too on that. I think that it's tough right now. I think Geno is slightly outperforming Trevor Lawrence. But I'll put it this way. Geno Smith's O-line is kind of banged up right now. And like you guys said, like the defense is, when you have to face Nick Bosa one week and Aaron Donald another week. And then even the Cardinals have had some sneaky good players on defense that have stepped up. I just don't see how Geno's able to continue to produce at a top tier level. T-Law typically starts the season off slow and starts picking things back up. So I'm curious to see if that happens this year. And like you said, I think his weapons are really going to help complement him on that.
Yeah, and I think he's had some really bad situations. He should have had a lot more touchdowns against the Chiefs. There was at least 3 or 4 in the red zone alone that were just the receivers weren't able to get their feet in bounds. So that definitely hurts his performance. And then their team has been kind of underwhelming so far. Playing in London, I know they're used to that too at this point, but the Falcons have a decent defense in terms of against the pass. So it's not all like they're completely struggling, but I was definitely high on T-Law before this year. I think he should bounce back. Just kind of needs that one game to kind of maybe this last win was kind of I want to get the team kind of sparked up. All right, next question I got here for you guys. It's going to be a little hot one. Justin Fields or Brock Purdy? Both are in the top 12 in terms of fantasy PPR. Not that it matters, but both are top 12 quarterbacks. Obviously, one's on a really bad team, probably the worst team in the league. One's on the best team in the league. One has more fantasy in terms of potential upside, but the other one has a way better roster, more touchdown upside. And I'm just going to leave this one up to you guys. What do y'all think? Who would you take for the rest of the season?
Dude, I'm going to have to go with Brock Purdy. I think that Fields can have those home run hitting games, but I think Fields is just not really consistent with it. So if you're really trying to win your league, and let's say you're just trying to shoot not to get last place, maybe you pick up and try to start Fields the whole year, because he'll definitely get you some wins, man. Some of those games, I'm sure he's going to pop off 25 to 30 plus points. But yeah, I'd have to stick with Purdy. I mean, I think he's going to be a consistent guy that's going to get you potentially 1 to 2 touchdowns a game. Probably throw for maybe 4,000 yards, and just be an overall not a liability to your team. As with Fields, man, like you said, I mean, sometimes he's going to be explosive and run for potentially 100 plus yards for the game, and maybe have 2 rushing touchdowns. But as of late, man, I mean, this past game was the only time I've really seen a significant stride in his performance. He's had a lot of turnovers so far this season, and unless he's able to take care of the football a little bit better, I don't see that really changing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think I have Brock Purdy starting in one of my leagues because Joe Burrow wasn't doing too hot for me. So with Brock, I agree with you, Tim. I think, you're going to get, depending on how your league does scoring, you're going to get 18 to 24 kind of bookended score week in and week out, just because of the talent that he has around him. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. George Kittle hasn't really been doing super great this year so far, but I mean, always due for a few big games. So yeah, I think Purdy is definitely the more consistent option. I think, if you're looking for a home run hitter, maybe 5 or 6 weeks this season, I'd go with Fields, but I think if you're looking for consistency, you go with Purdy.
Piggybacking off what you said a little bit, I think Purdy gives you kind of your stable baseline. You're going to get I would almost say 15 to 20 points every week, but Fields gives you quite a bit lower floor. I mean, what did he do this week or last week? What is it? 9 points or something like that. It really wasn't anything too crazy, but then he can go off. His ceiling is exponentially higher than Purdy's, but that's when he decides to run and is able to run. And if he can figure out how to pass past 10-yard line or 10 yards off line of scrimmage, he might be a little bit better. But for right now, I'm going to take Purdy all day.
Yeah. And I mean, biases aside, I think you have to go Justin Fields. You're not going to win a league with 5 points from a quarterback, especially when most of the tight ends this year are not even putting up anything past 10. That upside that Justin Fields does give you is going to single-handedly win you games. This week alone, he was quarterback, like he was top 3 quarterback. He had 28 points. I know it was against one of the worst defenses in the league, but once he can figure out, once they start letting him run, once they kind of just give up on the season, which probably should happen here pretty soon, especially if they are going to move on from Fields, at least the rest of this season, what's stopping them from just letting him run wild and breaking that record just to break it? So I still think Fields is probably the better option, especially if your team is solid. Hopefully, if you're thinking about a quarterback right now, as far as which fringe top 12 guy you're taking, your team's probably pretty good. You probably didn't overdraft a quarterback. You didn't get the Lamars or the Jalen Hurts or the Josh Allens of the world. So you got other weapons around the team. So I would go with Fields, but that's just me.
I'm iffy on Fields and your take about him winning you games. I think he's going to win you a handful of games, but he's going to cost you more than win you personally. So I mean that if he hits that 10-point line like he did last week, or 11.66 QB 24 last week, and then has a QB 3 week like this and with 28.9, yes, that is nice. But before that, weeks 1 and 2, he was 15 and 20 QB rating or ranking respectively. So I think there's better, more stable options out there. In fantasy, you just need consistency. It
just depends on the type of fantasy player you are. If you're looking for the home run hits and being the highest scoring team every week, you probably go with Justin Fields just because of the upside. But somebody like me, I'm looking, I want double-digit scores across my entire lineup, and I know Purdy's going to get me that 15 to 20, 18 to 22 type of point range week in and week out, and make me a consistent team. So.
Right on. All right, last one up here from me. We got the fringe top 10 quarterbacks. We got Russell Wilson or Jared Goff. We know the weapons. Both teams have decent weapons, or so we've been, wanting to believe. The Denver receivers are good. Whether they've shown that over their careers, who knows? But who would you go with at this current time?
I'm going Jared Goff, baby. I love them Lions, dog. But seriously, like I've had to start Goff in one of my leagues this year, and Amon-Ra is a dog. I mean, that guy is playing like one of the best wide receivers in the league right now. And then I think Sam Laporta. I mean, he's number 1 tight end, so obviously Goff's getting to him from a fantasy perspective, not like overall. But I think Goff gives you more upside. The Broncos have just been so bad. I don't know. I'd go with one. It makes me, the Lions are a very exciting team to watch. So if you have Jared Goff starting, gives you a reason to watch the Lions. And 2, I think there's more upside there. I think he has better weapons that have proven themselves more. I'll go with Goff.
Personally, I mean, this might be a little bit of a hot take. No shade at Goff, but I feel like he's kind of a budget version of Brock Purdy a little bit. And same previous context, no, but in consistency, he's been consistent. I don't think his ceiling's quite as high as Brock Purdy. Similar kind of floor, 15 points, but he's going to be steady for you. He's got a better situation, I think, around him. The Broncos receivers have shown bright spots, but they haven't been consistently bright. Purdy has Laporta. He has Amon-Ra, which has been very steady. I mean, he has Jahmyr Gibbs, which is primed to pop whenever they decide to utilize him. I mean, you can ask Brian. He is waiting for that day. Jahmyr Gibbs.
I swear to God, Dan Campbell. And I'm going to lose.
But yeah, I'm taking Goff.
All right, I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go with Broncos country. Let's ride. I'm going to go with Russ. He's been outperforming Goff as of late. I know Goff is going to get Jameson Williams back, but dude, I just don't know, man. With Russ, it's like he has, some wide receivers that are pretty notable names that, Cortland Sutton, who could be potentially an average, wide receiver 1-ish, maybe 1A, maybe 1B kind of guy. Jerry Jeudy, who was a, former first round pick, who's got a lot of potential and talent. We're still waiting on that kind of breakthrough. But one guy that I just want to bring up, because kind of the primary reason why Russ is outperforming Goff right now. So Marvin Mims, man, Marvin Mims, whenever they get him involved in the offense, dude, Russ throws bombs to him, and this guy makes the most out of his opportunity. I think he's got 3 touchdowns so far this year. He was their second round pick, so I'm really hoping they kind of keep him involved, because I'm going to be honest, y'all, the Denver defense is just absolute trash. I don't know how Russ isn't going to be forced to go out there and win his team some games, or at least keep them close. So I just don't know if I trust Goff with that run game that they have. I mean, Montgomery's killing it. Jahmyr Gibbs, when he's given his opportunity, he's doing really well. And I know that they have a pretty good pass blocking offense, pass blocking offensive line, but I don't see how Russ isn't going to be throwing for more yards and potentially more touchdowns than Goff this season.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Tim. As much as I'd like to hate on Russell Wilson, especially from last season, he was just so bad, and the Let's Ride and the Subway commercial and everything was coming out about him. He was a just terrible teammate. It's tough to root for him, but in their situation, the defense cannot stop anybody at the current time, so they're going to have to be throwing the ball. Javonte Williams just got hurt again, so they're relying on Samaje Perine and some, undrafted rookie running back. I just don't. They're not going to sustain a run game, so they're going to have to throw the ball, especially if they are behind in games, like they have been. The Lions want to run the ball. They're a run-first team. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league. And then David Montgomery, after last week, 34 carries. That just eats in any attempts that Jared Goff has to throw the ball. And their defense is solid. So I think they should be leading in most of the games that they play. So they don't really need to throw the ball. I still think he has, he's a good option to start. I think the whole team and the offense itself is good, but if we're talking about, either or, I'm gonna have to ride with Russell Wilson on this one.
All right, Paul, that wraps up your questions. Tim, I believe you're next. So what you got for us?
All right, guys. So we're a quarter way through the season. Kind of taking a quick glance at our yearly awards. I just want to hear from each of y'all what y'all think y'all's MVP, offensive player, defensive player of the year, and then also your rookies, your offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year. So go ahead and shoot off your candidates and let me know what y'all think.
All right, I'll kick us off. For MVP so far, got to go with, the best player and the best team in the league right now. I'm Chris McCaffrey. This dude is absolutely electric. I think this is going to be one of the first years since Adrian Peterson won it where a non-quarterback will win the MVP award. Obviously, if he stays healthy, that's a big thing. But this dude is the light or the heart and soul of this offense. He's averaging 20 touches a game. Had 4 touchdowns last week. I mean, it's absolutely electric. I think he's one of the best players in football. So I think he's right now, as long as they're currently rocking, and I don't think Brock Purdy is going to outshine him for that MVP. So I think my favorite would be Chris McCaffrey.
I think for me, now that we've gotten through the first 4 weeks of the season, the most electric offense in the league, because MVP's kind of a offensive award. I don't think it should be, but it is. I'm a rock with Tua. If Tua keeps this up with the way that this offense is playing, this it's must watch TV. Great story if he can come back, after the scares that we all saw last year. And if he keeps putting up numbers like this, there's no reason he shouldn't, So I think I'm going to rock with Tua. I definitely like Christian McCaffrey will, once we get to the Offensive Player of the Year award, that's whose mine's going to be. I don't want to discredit him at all, but, I think MVP has been pretty much reduced to a quarterback award, and I'm going to give it to Tua right now, at least.
Yeah, for my MVP, I'm going with the relevant Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy on probably the best team in the NFL. Shocking, but he's been stable. He's been a good heart of that team, good kind of captain of that ship. So pretty straightforward one for me.
Yeah, that's a good one, Brandon. I think that's kind of a surprising pick, but I think that's something that potentially could happen.
He hasn't been flashy, but if they have a good season,
if Christian McCaffrey goes down and this guy continues to win games somehow, some way, I mean, I don't see how he's not in the running. One guy that's kind of under the radar because their team hasn't won a lot of games, and we kind of brought their team up just a little bit ago. I'm gonna have to go with Justin Herbert. I think what would be really, really funny and actually a really cool thing is watch Brandon Staley get fired, Kellen Moore step in. This offense still stays electric and explosive. Herbert, I mean, dude, he's got, I think if I'm not mistaken, he's on track for like 40 touchdowns this year. I mean, I don't see how, you keep this guy bottled up. Like he's going to continue to I don't see how you're going to keep this guy bottled up. He's going to continue to explode. I don't think that the Broncos defense is anything, and they still have to play them twice this year. So I'd have to go with Herbert, man. I think that he's a potential sleeper option that if I had just $1 or $5 to bet on, man, I would like to see what those odds are and take a shot. So next up, Offensive Player of the Year. This one's not necessarily a quarterback. Let me know what y'all think.
Yeah, I guess I kind of already said it, but I'm going to say Christian McCaffrey. So
second.
Like I said, I kind of think MVP's been relegated to quarterback. So I mean, why not give it to the best offensive player in the league, C-Mac? I mean, it seems like it's been this way for years now. Knock on wood. Hope he stays healthy. I love Christian McCaffrey. He's electric. He's the best player on the best team. No reason he shouldn't win it, especially with the way that he's scoring points, both fantasy and actually on the field. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to second that. It's not a super hard one for me, CMC all the way.
All right. I'm going to go, because I had him at the MVP. I'm just thinking that's going to be more team success that gets him over the hump. We saw the Dolphins offense kind of struggle against a pretty good Bills defense, but I'm going to go with Tua as the Offensive Player of the Year. I think that he has an electric receiving core and running backs that are scoring a lot. So it's not all just Tua. I know he's playing fantastic, and I'm happy for him because, especially after the concussions from last year, I was just hoping that he would stay healthy. But I don't, I want to say their team is going to do well. I think they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. But I just don't know if their defense can hold all the way down. I know they got some injuries on the secondary that are coming. They should be coming back, but because of that, and I think they're going to have a little less overall team success. I'm going to go with Tua as getting the offensive MVP.
Yeah, and I also think that Tyreek could potentially win it if he keeps going stupid. So.
Yeah,
snatched it right out of my mouth, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tyreek Hill here, man. Like he's on a pretty insane pace in terms of yards, also touchdowns as well. I think he's on track for like 17 or 18 touchdowns this year. I know that the Bills were able to slow him down just a bit. I don't really think that's going to be a long-term deal. And we'll see, man. I think that if Tua stays healthy, I would keep my eye out for Hill. I think that, Christian McCaffrey, everyone loves him, but my only thing is, can he stay healthy? Like I think over the past year and a half, there's been some little bit of troubling injuries here and there. So we'll see, man. Long season ahead, and McCaffrey's already got a lot of mileage on him. So let's see how things kind of play out. And then let's see, next up, Defensive Player of the Year. Who y'all got?
All right, I'll kick us off. I got Defensive Player of the Year. He was a runner-up last year, but Chris Jones, defensive tackle for the Chiefs, missed the game, but still is already in the top. He's tied for first in sacks right now as among defensive tackles with 4. He is one of the highest graded players by PFF as well. Obviously, he's a stud. Everyone knows who he is. Absolute game wrecker. Again, with the team success, I still feel the Chiefs will go far in the playoffs at least, or have a decent regular season. So I feel like he's going to be that main piece on the defense, and he's going to really shine. And he's kind of had his name out there a lot. So I feel like Chris Jones is, primed up to be that MVP or defense.
Yeah, I like Chris Jones a lot. I listened to the podcast on Friday, The New Heights. He did a great job. I didn't realize how cool of a guy he was, so it was fun to listen to him talk. But for my pick, I'm rocking with my Cowboys boy. So go Micah Parsons. That guy, even if like the stat line doesn't show it, that's someone that just commands the attention of defensive coordinators across the league. You have to game plan for him. I don't know. I think he honestly probably could have won it last year and maybe should have, depending on who you talk to. But I think he definitely won. He verbally said that he was upset that he didn't win it. So I think he's kind of ready to go on a tear this year. The way that Cowboys defense is playing right now, I think it'll be Micah for sure.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm with you on this one. He's the face of probably the best defense in the NFL right now. I'm sure he's getting a lot of kind of that JJ Watt treatment. At least I remember being a Texans fan growing up, and he was drawing double teams, triple teams, and I'm sure that's being reflected in his stats right now. He's just commanding the attention of the defensive coordinators, like you said, and it's kind of dampening him a little bit, but it's freeing up other guys to succeed elsewhere. So yeah, Parsons all the way.
I'm wearing his jersey. I'm gonna have to go with Micah. I just want to bring up some quick stats though. Right now, he's got 27 pressures. I know that's only equivalated out to 4 sacks, but I just want to point something out. It looked like he was running a little bit with the linebacking crew for a while there, so I want to point that out. And then just two other players to keep your eye out for. TJ Watt and Myles Garrett are on pace for a pretty insane season. Khalil Mack just had one insane game recently for 6 sacks. Don't think he's going to keep that up forever. Khalil Mack's been kind of quiet since the beginning of the year, and even not that great last year. So maybe if Khalil Mack's able to keep that insane pace, he's going to be someone to look out for. But right now, I'm going to have to probably stick with Micah. Just got to see how he is against San Francisco. Hopefully, he can make some big plays when they need it most. Next up, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let me know who y'all have.
All right, I'll bundle in offense and defensive rookie of the year so we got some time. Just with the way he's been going, the way he's been playing lately, CJ Stroud, quarterback is going to get more pull than anybody else, any other position, no matter how dominant they are. Honorable mention would be Puka Nacua, breaking all the records for receptions. I don't see that sustaining once Cooper Kupp kind of comes back. His role will diminish a little bit. CJ Stroud, like I said, quarterback is going to win the award, and he's right now is looking like the best rookie quarterback so far. Defensively, I got to go with my guy Brian Branch. Looks like an absolute stud. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I got a little banged up on Thursday night, but he is. You just hear when you listen to the broadcast, his name is every other tackle's Brian Branch. So that's just, I think he's primed position right now.
Yeah, I'll make mine the same. Go with both. If we're talking about just through the first 4 weeks, it's got to be Puka. This guy's on an insane pace right now. He's outpacing Calvin Johnson in his monster year from 2011, and he's also outpacing Cooper Kupp's year from 2 years ago, 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
I'll give it to him right now. I do think his role will diminish whenever Kupp comes back, but who knows? If Kupp gets hurt again, then he's open up to continue putting out numbers like this. But do love what CJ Stroud is doing in Houston. The city is a little bit of buzz right now. It's fun. On the defensive side of the ball, I got to go with Brian Branch. That seems to be the only correct answer in my eyes. Like you said, his name is all over the place. He is running all over the field. He's been so much fun to watch. So I'm gonna roll with it. I think Sam Laporta's name should be in there. Paul told me that tight ends wouldn't win the award, but Laporta is playing. He's playing like the best tight end in the league right now. So I do love watching a young tight end get going.
Yeah, I'm gonna, shockingly enough, 3 in a row. I'm going the exact same. Puka, he was almost enough for Paul to beat me in fantasy this week, but fell 1 point short. I'm sorry to rub it in, but got to get it captured. But yeah, I'm going the exact same for same reasons. I'm not going to beat a dead horse.
All right, so I'm going to kind of go a little bit against the grain here. CJ Stroud is on to a historic start, but sometimes, man, I'm not going to say it's going to happen, but sometimes some quarterbacks get figured out. I don't know if that's going to be the case with him. He's been, insanely accurate. Their offense has been flowing. Puka Nacua has been on a historic pace as well, but a guy that I think is going to be a little bit of a sleeper. Zay Flowers has had a very quiet, good, productive year so far. I think he's looked like he's the best wide receiver in the draft, besides Puka. But I think that he's looking, like we said, he was going to be explosive. He was going to make some big plays. He's been able to do that. And then on the defensive side, I got to go with Jalen Carter. I think that, as a Cowboys fan, he's someone that I'm kind of terrified to see. He's been just every game, just wrecking havoc in the interior. They lost Javon Hargrave in the free agency period. And this guy's just been like a plug and play fit. And he's been honestly even better. So kind of scared to see him twice this year. But, that's why you got Zach Martin for. But I'm going to really say that the chances of Zay Flowers and Jalen Carter winning it aren't very high, but still would be fun to see that happen. And that's my question. So Brandon, I think you have something for us.
Yeah, so I'll let everybody pull up, but I'm going to do a little game showing 4 QBs, pick your QB pretty much, and then I'll reveal the names of them after everybody kind of makes their selection. So whenever y'all have them all pulled up, just let me know. Okay, so the first quarterback, I can go through the stats if y'all want me to, or if y'all just want to start saying who y'all want.
I'll put them up on screen here.
Thank you, Paul. I was about to say, I thought we could do that.
Sorry, I'm geriatric. I don't know these things.
Oh, man. We all went to college during the Zoom days. We should do
Dude,
this
I'm
thing
2.5 years away from 30.
Go ahead and read them over, Brandon. I'll do it in post.
Okay, well, we're all geriatric, so...
Okay, so first quarterback, 68.9% completion, 882 yards, 7-2 TD to interception, 68.9 QBR, and passer rating of 101.5. Second quarterback, 67.4 completion percentage, just over 1,000 yards passing, 9-2 touchdown to interception ratio, 51.2 QBR, and 106.7 passer rating. QB3, 64.3% completion percentage, just over 1,000 yards once again, 8-4 TD interception ratio, 71.4 QBR and 92 passer rating. And then QB4, 92.3 completion percentage, just over 1,200 yards passing, perfect 6-0 TD to interception ratio, 57.4 QBR and a 100.6 passer rating. Who do y'all choose?
All right.
Before we get started, all this exercise does is make me realize how I don't understand what the hell QBR means. But
yeah, everybody's got
y'all
to
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, man. I got a list pulled up. I think that these are the matching quarterbacks to this.
Well, pick your quarterback first. Pick who you want.
What do you mean? Pick which one I want. I'm so sorry. Y'all go. I'm sorry.
Based off of stats alone, because I don't know what Tim's looking at. The QBR number is just throwing me off so bad. But I'm gonna take the second guy with 1,014 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 106 passer rating, 67% completion percentage. Like I said, I don't really know what the hell QBR means. So screw it. I'm going to take the guy that scored the most touchdowns and is completing 67% of his passes.
Yeah, I think I knew who everyone is on here, but I'm going to have to agree with him. I'm going to go with that number 2. I think he's just an all-around, solid player, at least playing so far this year, but we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out.
So I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to have to go with QB number 4. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to go with QB number 2, man. I know y'all were giving me crap about the turnover, so I was thinking QB 4, but I just think that completion percentage means a lot. And the ability to get the ball in the end zone, man, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, so for this one, I'll go and reveal who they were just for sake of time.
Can I guess? Can I guess really quick?
Yeah, I won't make a selection, but Tim, take your guesses.
Was
starting from the top.
Goff, Russ, Mahomes, and Purdy.
Nope.
No.
I bet
you got 2 right.
Let me guess. Number 1 is Baker Mayfield. Number 2 is Russell Wilson. 3 is Josh Allen, and then last one is Stroud.
Okay, Ryan, go and give me your guesses.
I don't know, dude.
Do you want to go ahead and give them to you?
Yeah, I don't want to.
So number one, Paul got this right. Baker Mayfield. Number 2, Russell Wilson. Number 3 is Pat Mahomes, and 4 is Stroud.
Oh, so I was right about Stroud. Okay, I know my stuff.
Houston.
H-Town. Damn, I didn't think that would be Russ.
Yeah, it's a little bit shocking that these names are all kind of jumbled together. I mean, Baker's a little bit of an outlier in terms of yardage. I mean, same with CJ Stroud, but CJ Stroud's leading it, shockingly enough. And
I think Baker's
no
been
interceptions.
he's been pretty electric this year, honestly. Obviously, the yards are down, but he's been fun to watch. So he's got him competing. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, the passer rating is definitely the most interesting one. I mean, it reflects Pat still. He has the highest out of the 4. Or I'm sorry, not the passer rating, the QBR. But Russ having the highest passer rating. A little bit of an interesting stat.
It is interesting. Well, don't have too much time left, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap us up here. Thank you all for listening. Go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, keep up with us the rest of this year. If you have any questions, concerns, feel free to drop a comment where we went wrong, where you thought we went right, and we'll get with y'all next week. This is the EndZone signing off.